So we're talking about the Ranthem. This ship, also has some history with Keen. This was built off of a rust freighter, which is also known as an LCC-3. You should find some irony in that because that was the ship in the first season of Ship Survival, which met an unfortunate end after it was overhauled. Now, big difference between that ship and this ship, you'd think that, oh, you've seen what the ACC-4 could do and it wasn't impressive. This thing can actually fight. It's also got an artillery gun. But this thing can fight. It's battle tested. We got this nice little walkway that goes all the way to the back. This ship is not set up like normal FEN ships because it has nacelles. The Algrano is the complete exception to the ships having nacelles and not everything being an absolute mess. I wanted to keep this ship kind of like low profile and not too wide as much as possible. So that's why we have this little design that we have, but it actually pair well with the ACC-4 for refilling the fleet. You just kind of park this up, grab what's inside the cargo ship, then move it to the rest of the fleet. And moving inside, this is a air vent system. The ramp was removed and replaced with this. This is what is that? The corrugated armor, to kind of give it that ramp look. I do that in a couple of my builds. Coming back in here, you'll notice it's very much LCC / rush freighter vibes, but we got here an access panel 4. Bridge is a little bit bigger than on the rust freighter. Got more windows too. Again, captain is in the front and center, but we got guys on starboard and port who can also control the vessel, and this is the only point of control on this vessel. It does have a CEC, but the CEC has 0 controls unless you use mods. You'll see why I say that in a second. But anyway, we have a cryopod here, same as on a rust freighter. The LCC never got that treatment of that cryopod. I could have put one in, I just never got around to it or anything like that. There would have been some minor reworkings, but basic refinery, same as an LCC, but because this is built from a rust freighter, we have an assembler, and oh, guess what? An assembler. And we have a survival kit. Let me see, I'm just checking to... I've probably done this before, but I'm doing it again. Yeah, so there's a jump drive in here, and I just want to figure out where the heck I put the jump drive. Okay, so I put it under the floor over there. Okay. I'm going to leave that on so when we come back outside you can see, but added some storage here, add some lockers here, so there's plenty of storage over in this crew section. And now over here, we're coming in, we got ourselves a shower and a bathroom. It really does kind of, honestly, I really do like how this turned out because you maximize the space. And you still have room for the gravity gen. It's just, and I want to mention the gravity generator on the rust freighter and the LCC never centered. It's normally underneath the stairs. But you got 4 bunks here, so you can have about 4 or 5 crew members here. Over here we have storage. The ship isn't that big, so it requires these little, you know, unconnected cargo crates to store goods on board the vessel. And then we have our reactors here. The ship's been heavily modified from the standard LCC. So a lot of the design will be different, and there are some major modifications that were needed to do this because the whole front end is brand new. So basically, from this door onward is all brand new. Like none of this stuff was here. Basically, cut the ship in half. But down here we have a little corridor, some extra storage here that's not connected to the cargo system, and then you have access to your battery, and you can see a little bit of your power. So you have that, and then we have a inset kitchen block with again more storage, and this is the CIT. It's just a couple of console modules. There's a mod that lets those be like active control blocks. I just never use that, so that's why those are never active. I'm gonna come back out. And so underneath all this armor is where the jump drive sits. It took a lot of work to try and fit the jump drive in. You can see the jump drive there. But it does make this ship versatile, and when you compare it to other like corvettes, like the Chalmers, which doesn't have one, that's kind of a handy. But this is like a bit of a bigger corvette compared to like the Vega, and honestly I consider this more of a corvette, the Horde Crow. It was a frigate at one point in time, but it serves better as a corvette. I think I'd call it a corvette, to be honest. I'd have to double check what I have on the Steam Workshop for that. But then you have things like the, other ships that are in the fleet. But, this one is relatively small, and it can do the job that it's required to do. I have messed quite a bit around with, like, the Rust Raiders and made a few variants, but this is one that, definitely I'm proud of because it's a very functional vessel. And there is something I had to point out. The color scheme on here was when I was still deciding on what it should look like for FEN. I just never got around to adjusting it. That would have been too much work to fix the color on this, so I keep it as is. And in the lore, the Ranthem, was just a stopgap measure for a while. That was slowly phased out when other ships like the El Grano and the Vega started to come on the scene. And then we'll get on to the Vega. That's next on the list, and then we'll finish off with the Horde Crow. There's still a couple more ships of FEN that have yet to be seen, but probably not show those unless I get enough requests to do so. So if you want to see those, let me know in the comments, and I can make that happen. The yard's probably at the point where it's gonna be, as far as it's gonna be at that point, so I probably won't mess with it too much more. The Longfish, still finalizing some things. I did a little bit of work on it on that ship today. That's in a separate world than this. That's why you can't see it, but yeah, so I'm Gamer Squiggles. Make sure to like and subscribe, it helps the channel out, and I'll see you guys next time.